What are sharps and flats? Today I'm going to be going into very simplistic but very detailed explanation so that we can understand this with a great level of clarity, okay? And because we'll be utilizing this information as we move along and build in our knowledge base. There are the letters through A through G in the musical alphabet, as I had stated, and it turns out that those are not the only notes. There are additional notes between those notes, let's say, and we refer to those notes as sharps and flats. I will be going extensively into this in the next video and showing how those things can be practiced and how we can build confidence in knowing all of the available notes. But first, we need to clearly define what is a sharp, what is a flat. Now, sharp is represented by the hashtag symbol or the pound sign, right, on your telephone, whatever. If we used to have on physical phones, when phones were physical, button with a pound sign. Tic-tac-toe, right? That symbol right there is how you write down the symbol for sharp. Sharp is defined as the note immediately above an existing reference note. So let's give examples. If I have the note C, the note C is one of them letters, right? It's a pitch. On an instrument, you will find a note that's one note higher in pitch immediately above the C note. We would call that note not D, we would call it C sharp. So that's the way you construct it. You have the letter C and then you have sharp. C is the reference note, the note that you're referencing. I'm talking about C right now. That's what you mean, right? Reference. I'm talking about C, but not C. C sharp. The note sharp, it means that you raise the pitch of the note that you're referencing by one note immediately above it. Clear? So again, the way we talk about notes that are sharps and flats is we give a reference note and then we give the sharp sign or the flat sign to indicate what we're doing to the reference note. So the reference note is C, and sharp tells me I have to raise C by 1 to the next available pitch, which is a half step away, higher. I'll talk about intervals in terms of steps in the future. But just understand it's the next note that's immediately higher. So let's give different examples of how we can take a reference note and raise it to a higher pitch. You have, let's do the note D, right? You take the note D as a reference note and you raise it by one pitch. It's going to be D sharp. Okay? So that's the rules. You have a reference note, you put the sharp symbol, it means to raise that note by one pitch to the next immediately available pitch. Just bear with me here. I am at work and I need to juggle a little bit here. Cold out here today, 10 degrees. And my windows are fogging up and stuff because the intensity of the focus of concentrating. All right, anyway. Is that clear is that clear? You with me so far with the sharps? Let's do more examples. What if I wanted to talk about the note that's above the note F? What would we call that? So we have our reference note. You know that note F? The note F? Yeah, man, I know the note F. So, what about it? Well, I want you to play the note that's immediately above the next higher pitch note above F. I said in my first video, you need to give things names so people can know what you're talking about. Or else you'll just be like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah, man, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm driving one of those, you know what I mean? I'm gonna go down to, you know what I mean? We need names, right? So if I'm referring to a note, I need to give it a name. So the note F, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, I know what you mean, because like you told me which note it is, the note with the name F. Okay. You know what I mean? The note that's immediately above F? Yeah, man, I know what you mean. You mean F sharp. Right, because if you take sharp and you raise it by one note, if you take F and you raise it by one note, it becomes F sharp. Right? Clear? We cool? Let's do some more practice. Because this is rocket science, right? Rocket science here in progress. Do not enter at your own risk. So, what is the note above G? You know what I mean? That note G? Yeah, man, I know what you mean. Yeah, G. Play me a G. Okay, here's a G. Blue. Okay, what's the note above G? I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. It has a name. We call it G sharp because it's the note. We take G and we raise it by one note, and that's what we're talking about, G sharp, the note G sharp. Okay? So what we have is essentially, we can take every single letter, and if you're talking about that letter already, and then you make it one note higher, it becomes the sharp. Okay? And so I just wanted to clearly define this. It's going to become important down the line. But for now, it's important so that you can know what I mean when I'm referring to a particular note that's not the exact letter, but higher or lower than the letter. So I say lower, but we only did the ones that are higher, sharps. Let's do a few more examples. We have A sharp. We have F sharp, D sharp, right? Okay. So this video is what are sharps and flats. So we know what sharps are. Let's go into what are flats. The what are flats lesson for rocket scientists, or for people that are not rocket scientists, you know, just humble, regular old people like me that need stuff busted down in a simple way so that they can file it away in their brains in a simplistic way. And okay, I understand it. Because I understand it, I can remember it. Let me tell you something about memory real quick here, because really learning anything is about, a lot of it has to do with memory. It has to do with comprehension, and then it has to do with memory. But if you don't understand something already, you don't comprehend it, it becomes a lot harder to remember it. And it's a lot easier to remember something that after you understand it clearly. Like, what's a sharp? Do you remember? You remember what's a sharp? It's the note above a note. It means you took a note, a reference note, and you raised it by one, right? So by the time, because it's busted down simple to where you can understand it, now you can remember. The remembering part actually becomes like easier. It's the first understanding that we need to conquer. in music theory. It's the harder part. Once you do understand, you need to do the rinse repeat dynamic so that you can burn it into your memory. But the initial challenge, the initial hurdle is to first understand it in the first place. So let's understand, what are flats? What are flats? I like the, to start to understand, we know that sharp, we raised it to higher pitch. If you were to come outside and, see that your tire is flat, I don't wish this on anybody. You come outside to go to work. It's happened to all of us, I'm sure. Come out to go to work. Maybe you didn't even particularly get out on time too great today, and now you come to your car, you're like, oh man, I gotta go to work now, I gotta go punch, and then oh man, my tire's flat. What in the world? What am I gonna do now? Oh man, what am I gonna do? It's early. Who am I gonna call? You see, we all had that horrible experience, right? It's flat. The tire's flat. What does that mean? In terms of air, is there more air or less air? Is the pressure in the tire higher or lower? It's lower. See, it's low. The pressure's low. So the tire's flat. When it comes to music theory, flat means that you take the note, a reference note, and you make it lower. Just like the tire that gets more flat, it's going lower in pressure. When you take a note and you go down lower, it becomes the flat of the note. So here we're going to define. Here's the structure. You have a note. Say you have the note B. B as in boy. That's the reference note. What is the note that's immediately below the note B? What can we call that? If B is my reference point and I'm saying the note below, it's going to be called flat. B flat. So you take the letter B and you put the symbol for flat in front of it, and it becomes B flat. Or the note that is lower, immediately below. So here's B, the note that's immediately below B in pitch. This note is B flat. So B, B flat. And you can remember that it's below or lower by thinking what if a flat tire is lower. Okay? That's my little trick, my little mental trick for people that need things simple like me. So you can start to go through the musical alphabet of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, E, F, G. Oh, not two E, but you know what I'm saying. I'm an idiot. Now, all we have is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And we can start to take those and put the flat in front of it and to say, okay, I'm talking about the note that's below the note A. Know what I mean? Yeah, man, I know what you mean. I know what A is, and I know what you mean. The note name that I give to it is the note below A. A flat. Okay? So this is the super duper easy version of how to memorize what sharps and flats are. Let's go through and do a few more examples of flats. What's the note below F? Come on, rocket scientists. You got this. F flat. Okay? See? Like this. Now I do want to create to put a little warning sign right here. Ever see those caution, do not slip, the floor is wet sign, right? And I want to say there's a rule. there's a rule. You have all of these letters, and they have sharps and flats, but it turns out on an actual instrument that there's a rule that between the note B and C and between the note E and F, there's no note between those two letters. So I'll go more into this in the next video, but just know, like, here's the BCEF rule, what I'm going to call it, BCEF rule. Between B and C and E and F, there's not a note between those, a physical note. All of the other letters have physical notes between them, and we refer to them as sharps and flats, okay? Now, there's an interesting dynamic that goes on with the naming of these notes that I'll explain in the next video. But what are sharps and flats? Let's review real quick. We have, if I'm talking about a note and referencing it, the note that's immediately above it in pitch is what we call a raised note or a sharp, okay? If we take a reference note, the same reference note, say the note A, and we lower it by one pitch to the note that's immediately below, that's a flat. So if we use A as the reference note, the note immediately above A is A sharp. The note immediately below A is what? A flat. Let's do it with G. The note immediately above G is G sharp. The note immediately below G in pitch is G flat, like a flat tire, like lower, okay? One more. Let's do the note immediately. Let's see what we got here. There's so many options. The note immediately above D, like in dog, D sharp. It's the note that's higher, immediately higher than D. And the note immediately below D is D flat. Okay, rocket scientists, you got this. If you already know this and this is too redundant for you, it's like, yeah, everybody knows that. Well, maybe it's not the video for you. I'm trying to help people like me that, like, you know, when I first started learning this, like, everything's all jumbled and you're seeing the information, you got to sort it away in your head the right way. We're going to get command of these things by making them simple, and then we could put it together and together and together, and to make everything build up on each other into a bigger understanding of music theory, and then we'll be confident, and then we can have more complex discussions later. But for now, all right, this is introduction to sharps and flats. Have a blessed day. I'll see you in the next video.